Chapter 10, from our book on tyranny. It's me again. Believe in truth. To abandon facts is to abandon freedom. If nothing is true, then no one can criticize power because there is no basis upon which to do so. If nothing is true, then all is spectacle. The biggest wallet pays for the most blinding lights. I have notes on this one. My former Republican or fascist friends refuse to believe facts. Their position is that any facts that refute Trump are lies and made up by liberals. They literally think of Trump as Christ reborn, like seriously for real. It's awful, and it breaks my heart that they are lost to fascism. All right. You submit to tyranny when you renounce the difference between what you want to hear and what is actually the case. This renunciation of reality can feel natural and pleasant, but the result is your demise as an individual, and thus the collapse of any political system that depends upon individualism. As observers of totalitarianism, such as Victor Klemperer noticed, truth dies in 4 modes. The first mode is the open hostility to verifiable reality, which takes the form of presenting inventions and lies as if they are facts. Sound familiar? In 2017, the American president averaged 6 lies a day. The next year, it was 16. The following year, 22. In 2020, he told an average of about 27 lies a day. This figure is so high that it makes the correct assertions seem like unintended oversights on the path towards total fiction. Then came the big lie about an election creating a fictional counterworld. The second mode is shamanistic incantation. As Klemperer noted, the fascist style depends upon endless repetition designed to make the fictional plausible. The systematic use of nicknames such as Sleepy Joe displaced certain character traits that might more appropriately have been affixed to the president himself. Yet through blunt repetition over Twitter, a president managed the transformation of individuals into stereotypes that people then internalized. The big lie about elections was also repeated over and over. Followers did not want to believe that they could be deceived on such a scale and took comfort in the repetition. The big lie created its own world where anyone who pointed to simple truths was the enemy. That's how I ended up with former friends. The next mode is magical thinking, or the open embrace of contradiction. A billionaire can pay neither taxes nor debts. Liberating the wealthy from taxes will not increase the national debt. Fighting corruption means selling the presidency for favors. A disease that kills hundreds of thousands will vanish. The winner gets fewer votes. The vote is always rigged, and you should vote for me anyway. Black people are taking the vote away from white people, although American history shows that the opposite has been the case. Accepting untruth of this radical kind requires a blatant abandonment of reason. Klemperer's descriptions of losing friends in Germany in 1933 over the issue of magical thinking ring eerily true today. One of his former students implored him to abandon yourself to your feelings, and you must always focus on the Führer's greatness rather than on the discomfort you are feeling at present. 12 years later, after all the atrocities, and at the end of a war that Germany had clearly lost, an amputated soldier told Klemperer that Hitler has never lied yet. I believe in Hitler. The final mode is misplaced faith. It involves the sort of self-deifying claims a president made when he said that I alone can solve it, or I am your retribution. When faith descends from heaven to earth in this way, no room remains for the small truths of our individual discernment and experience. What terrified Klemperer was the way that this transition seemed permanent. Once truth had become oracular, Rather than factual, evidence was irrelevant. At the end of the war, a worker told Klemperer that understanding is useless. You have to have faith. I believe in the Führer. Eugene Ionesco, the great Romanian playwright, watched one friend after another slip away into the language of fascism in the 1930s. The experience began the basis for his 1959 absurdist play Rhinoceros, in which those who fall prey to propaganda are transformed into giant horned beasts. Of his own personal experience, Ionesco wrote, "University professors, students, intellectuals were turning Nazi, becoming iron guards, one after the other. At the beginning, certainly they were not Nazis. About 15 of us would get together to talk and to try to find arguments opposing theirs. It was not easy. From time to time, one of our friends said, 'I don't agree with them, to be sure, but on certain points, nevertheless, I must admit, for example, the Jews,' etc." And this was a symptom. 3 weeks later, this person would become a Nazi. He was caught in the mechanism. He accepted everything. He became a rhinoceros. Toward the end, only 3 or 4 of us were still resisting. Ionesco's aim was to help us see just how bizarre propaganda actually is, but how normal it seems to those who yield to it. But by using the absurd image of the rhinoceros, Ionesco was trying to shock people into noticing the strangeness of what was actually happening. The rhinoceri are roaming through our neurological savannas. We now find ourselves very much concerned with something we call post-truth, and we tend to think that its scorn of everyday facts and its construction of alternative realities is somehow new or postmodern. Yet there is little here that George Orwell did not capture 7 decades ago in his notion of doublethink. In its philosophy, post-truth restores precisely the fascist attitude to truth, and that is why nothing in our world would startle Klemperer or Ionesco. Fascists despise the small truths of daily existence, loved slogans that resonated like a new religion, and preferred creative myths to history or journalism. They used new media, which at the time was radio, to create a drumbeat of propaganda that aroused feelings before people had time to ascertain facts. And now, as then, many people confuse faith in a hugely flawed leader with the truth about the world we all share. Post-truth is pre-fascism. All right, that's it for now, guys. Okay, I love you. Bye.